So we're going to talk about this video. How do you understand the insurance company's estimate? How do you read it? What's it all about? And the program that's called Xactimate that is universally used by every insurance company, public adjusters, and anybody that's in this business. So my name is Mike Keeler. I'm a licensed public adjuster in the state of Florida. Here's my contact information if you have a question or need help with a claim. So let's talk a little bit about Xactimate because there are some important things that everybody needs to know. Number one, this was developed by insurance companies. It was developed because it allows the estimate. It allows it to be something where they can easily manipulate, dispute items, say, no, we're not going to include that. We're not going to allow that, deny certain things, not measure things correctly. It's basically a guide, but it's not the Bible. Okay? Remember this, see this last line on this slide? This is the most important thing. Let me repeat that again. It is a guide, not the Bible. The user, the end user, the adjuster, or anybody else who's using it can easily manipulate it, and you don't have any idea how they're manipulating the program. It could be things from as far as, well, we'll get into all those different things in the next couple slides, and we're going to review an Xactimate estimate. Not only we're going to review what the insurance company adjuster did and then what we did, and you're going to see the difference and how the end user matters on this, right? And then finally, at the end, I'll discuss how you fight this Xactimate. And boy, again, this is just something that you follow as a loose guide for the cost of repairs. Don't let the insurance company say, well, this is what it costs and that's it, and you've got to follow us. That's a bunch of bullshit. We're going to talk about that in greater detail. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and also, if you want to, subscribe to the channel to get more videos like this. Okay, so let's open up this estimate. Hold on a second. I just had it. Where'd it go? Great. Lost it. Oh, here it is. Okay, so let's take a look at an example of a estimate. First things right off the bat, you're going to notice the insurance company. Okay. Cross out the insured. And this was the field adjuster for the insurance company. Now, why do I point this out? Well, a couple videos ago I talked about if these estimators, these field adjusters for the insurance company are writing lowball estimates and not writing what the real damage are or is in your house, file a complaint against them with your state regulation office, whether that's the Department of Financial Services, what we have here in Florida. You may have an insurance regulation department, Office of Insurance Regulations, things of that nature. You should be able to. I think it's about 40 states where you can file complaints against adjusters, and you can do so if they're licensed in that state. So I highly recommend that. So we begin with the roof, and there's something in particular I want to pay your attention to. So if you look at Xactimate, you put in certain measurements, right? You're supposed to take the measurements. Here's linear feet, square feet. In roof, it goes by squares, which is basically 100 square feet per square. Okay. So 26.28 would mean that it's about 2,600 square feet of roofing. Okay. but we call it squares. So it'd be 26 squares. 26 squares. That's kind of our lingo. That's what roofers talk about as well. And then they talk about, now the pricing, to make a point, the pricing is updated on a monthly basis, and it's supposed to be taken from a regional perspective. So if you're in South Florida, it'd be those prices. Central Florida, those prices. New York, Southern New York, Central New York, California, Texas, Northern Texas, Southern. Every regional pricing could be different. So where a lot of times they can get you is just the measuring part of it. How many linear feet? For instance, gutter here. An insurance company can easily put 130. You have no idea. And maybe the true measurement's 161. Same thing with your roof. What if they put 21 squares? Okay? Now just keep this in mind. This is what the gentleman estimated for the roof. And then after he took depreciation, a little bit shorter than 15,000. Now I want to point something out. What we have in our estimate that we did. So we have about $24,000 here. So our estimate for the roof, 24,000. Okay. You're going to see our estimate, 158,000. Let's take a look at theirs. $25,000. So then they did this. 25,000 includes the dwelling part, then other structures. Take a look at other structures, right? Talks about the fencing. This is how they measured it out. So then the calculation, depreciation, deductible. This is what her net claim was, what they initially paid. So we end up filing a lawsuit. Here's the other thing Xactimate does. They do sometimes a recap by the room. Sometimes it's done a little bit differently, depends on how you set it up in a system, because we set it up differently as well. This is how we do our recap by the room. Okay, a little bit different. This gets a little confusing for people, and that's the point of it. But as you can see, there was a major difference of $133,000 between the two estimates. So they basically gave a little bit in the garage, $3,000. And they gave, let me see what we had in the garage. I don't want to go through this whole thing, but it's going to be here somewhere. But you get the point. The other thing I want to mention is what they don't include, what we include are these general conditions, right? So you may need dumpsters, some general demo, storage containers, content manipulation, which is moving stuff around the house, okay? Boxes you may need to put stuff into. Sometimes a residential supervision for projects, which you're supposed to have a GC on site for. So as you can see, they don't have any of that. They don't have anything to move your stuff. They don't have anything for dumpsters, nothing. Well, actually they did. So they put 776. Let's see what we put again. So they put we put 7 to 8 tons, so 3,000. So that's a $2,300 difference there, right? This is what happens. So the main point is a couple things. Number one, always lowball. The insurance company always lowballs. Number two, the pricing, right? Again, it's a guide. Because what a contractor may charge or get it for does not always equal up to what this regional pricing is. Number three, the measurements. Okay? How they measure. They can manipulate this any way they want. Remember, the end user inputs all the variables, inputs all the data points. So you have to know, if you don't have anybody helping you, it gets confusing. And I'm going to highlight a few more things, but this is just to let you know how they do it. And the reasons behind it is to nickel and dime you by saying, no, we're not going to cover overhead garage door opener for $268. No, we're not going to cover this drywall 70 square feet. We don't think that's related. We're not going to paint the ceiling. So the other thing is there, it says one coat. Listen, you got to do 2 coats. I mean, that's basic. You got to do 2 coats. It's just all this different stuff that you have to take in consideration that they really don't. So that's why this Xactimate is only a guide. We're going to talk about more and sum this all up, but I just wanted to kind of show you guys how you understand things and what you should know regarding this Xactimate estimate and just how it can be manipulated any way they want. So as I talked about briefly a little bit ago, was that the Xactimate estimate is used and was created to give the insurance company the advantage. And as I briefly showed you, there's ways they can manipulate this. The end user can do false measurements. They can put different pricing in for different things. Okay, they can have things that they deliberately do not include, leave things out. This is all part of the plan. The major issues that I have with Xactimate is that some of the bigger ticket items are not even close. You're talking about floors, removal, replacing floors, especially if you have tiled floors, right? Porcelain, marble, things of that nature, wood even. Cabinets, the pricing's not off, is off. A lot of times with roofs, as I just showed you, the difference between the two. Ours is $24,000, almost $25,000. Theirs is $16,000. $8,000 is a big difference. It's a big difference. I mean, there's pool cages. There's just countless other things that can be damaged, a big ticket. Now, things like paint and masking tape and baseboards and drywall, yeah, you could pretty much, it's not terrible. Still not my favorite thing to use. So, but they don't account a lot for the time and the labor and them having to drive and pick that stuff up. Like none of it gets accounted for, which is why these estimates are so low. They think that magically the drywall and all these supplies are just showing up to your house. Listen, your contractor has to spend time picking it up, using his labor to put stuff into his pickup truck, using his pickup truck. Like, that's not even considered an insurance company's estimate. They don't even think about this. So, one way to combat this Xactimate estimate, number one, you should always request a copy and they should give it to you. The other point is that don't get caught up in nitpicking about all the different items they may have forgot, okay? Or that they included but had the wrong pricing or size or measurements. Don't get caught up in all that. That's what they want. They want you to go into the weeds and then they can argue every little point. What you should only do is when you have a contractor's estimate, if this Xactimate estimate is $25,000 and your contractor is saying $40,000, right? Supply your contractor's estimate and leave it at that. Let that do the talking. Maybe if you need to, get a second estimate. Okay, let's say the second estimate is $38,000 from a contractor. So you got one for 38, one for 40. There at 25. Then you go back and you write them by email. Okay, don't call, email. Listen, I know about Xactimate. Xactimate's a guide. It's not perfect. It's not the Bible. It's not what we should always use. It's the end user. There could be wrong measurements. There could be wrong pricing. The pricing isn't accurate. Okay, I had to get kitchen cabinets. Cost me $30,000 from Lowe's, and you guys have underestimated all of this. So don't get caught up in the weeds on a line item of what a door handle may have or what the drywall costs. Just work on the total number, the overall number, and negotiate from that point. All right. Make sure your contractor doesn't forget to put in 20% overhead and profit on top of his estimate. So if the estimate from those two that I use an example, 38 and 40, have them add in 20% overhead and profit on top of that. So I just want to touch on this a little bit. Just wanted to get your feet wet. I'm going to do a deeper dive in a couple months into this Xactimate, but I just wanted everybody to get a taste of it and what the real story is behind this Xactimate. I'm not a fan of it. I don't like it at all. And even though we have to use it, we try to use it to our advantage strategically in a lot of different places, which I'm not going to get into right now for obvious reasons. I hope you enjoyed this video. Once again, my name is Mike Keeler, your favorite licensed public adjuster in the state of Florida. If you have a question, need help with a claim, here's my cell phone number, email, and my website. Thank you.